right, folks. It's 3 p.m. Eastern here, June 5th, 2025. I think it's about time to get ready and start our first Discover Captivate webinar. So, really appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day to join. My name's Jacob Vernick. I'm a sales engineer here at NewBlue, and welcome to Discover Captivate, a brand new webinar series from NewBlue. It's really great to have you. So today we are going to dive into the reason that we all wake up every single morning, which, as you guys know, live video production. Live video production, thrilling and absolutely never predictable, right? Your graphics need to change on the fly, guests run late, and presenters at the Oscars get slapped in the face. You need tools that don't just keep up, but make your production shine through it all. And today we're going to show you one of those tools, which is NewBlue Captivate. Captivate is designed for producers who want flexibility without sacrificing design. And whether you're a solo producer, part of a studio team, or this is your first time ever learning about live broadcast software, Captivate empowers you to stay agile and still deliver broadcast quality graphics that elevate your brand. So today, that's what we're going to spend time doing, right? We're going to walk you through how Captivate makes your live workflows dynamic, cohesive, and stunning no matter what chaos strikes. So thank you for sitting through my spiel. Let's dive into a little bit of a demo here and talk through some things. All right, so I'm now sharing my screen. We're in Captivate, and I'm going to walk through a couple of different use cases to start off, right? Maybe you're using Captivate because you want to do a webinar like we're doing today, right? To do a webinar, maybe you got a title with today's date. You can then cut over into your live camera feed with a lower third, and maybe you can need to dynamically update that lower third, right? Either from a spreadsheet or just live on the fly. Captivate gives you the tools to do all of that. You can build out custom pictures in pictures, right? So if we wanted to have agendas of what we're talking about today, or if we wanted to do a picture in picture where I'm showing my face and also sharing my screen within the same box, we've got the ability to set all of that up here as well. That's one use case. Another use case, which I imagine many of you are doing here today, live sports, right? Everything you're looking at here was built using some of our templates that either are available as add-ons or come with your purchase of Captivate. So, we have an intro right here, right? A sports intro where all the logos, all the text, all the individual colors can be updated and match your team's brands. Then you can come over here to add a scoreboard, right? Have different logos, have different pieces. And then if you don't have the luxury of connecting to a scoreboard, you can use our scoreboard tool so that you can come over here and drive the score directly in Captivate or kick it out to someone on the same network who can do it from the sideline. We have all sorts of sports graphics, right? Including single player spotlights. I'm not having a great game today, but you guys got any tips and tricks? I need more of those than you can imagine. And then schedule graphics, right? All the way down. Any graphic that you're going to see in a live sporting event, you're going to find some sort of template for it in Captivate that you can use, customize to your needs, and then use to drive all of your live productions. I know someone in the chat said news earlier as well, right? So here we've got our two shot, and then we got maybe just our bug, and then we want to bring in our lower third. We want to bring in our lower third plus our live bug in the top right-hand corner, and we want to go back to our lower third, right? We have all of these different workflows setups. These graphics are not available yet. They're a package that's coming very soon. We have some news ones in there, but these are going to be really, really slick and modern for what you see in news today. Full screen graphics, right? Again, anything that you need to get your production up and running, there's some sort of template that you can come in here and use within Captivate. My favorite story, somebody from NAB came over to us and said, I bought your software an hour before a baseball game and had graphics for that baseball game that night. So it's very easy to get up and running, easy to use, and that's what we're here to walk through today. So I'm going to open up a new project, and we're going to start blank. We're going to start from just a regular empty project. We're not going to save this guy. And we're just going to test out a couple of different things. So I'm going to go out into the setup. It launches over into my other monitor, but here we go. So one thing to hit on very quickly, Captivate works on both Windows and Mac. So whatever device you are using this on, it is available to run on. I'm running it on an M3 MacBook Pro right now. We have tons of different options. Whatever you want to download the software to should be acceptable. We've got a layout right here where I have my program monitor over here. That's what's currently going out live right now. I've got my preview window right here. That's where I can preview, move my graphics around if I need to, test out different uh, names, dates, etc. Project panel over on the left-hand side, this is where all of your graphics are going to live. So for your project, you build out the project, all of your graphics will live in this area. I'll show you as we go a little bit more of what that looks like. And then down here, we have our properties panel. Our properties panel is where we can adjust data live for the graphics. A couple other things to highlight. If I come up here to my settings menu and I go over to project, this is where I can now see my frame rate resolution and adjust that on a per project basis. One thing to note, I am using Captivate Broadcast today. So Captivate Broadcast will support up to 4K. There are some other features that Captivate Broadcast have that Sport and Present don't have. I'll try my best to make sure that I highlight what those are as we go through. But here's where you can define your frame rate and your resolution. Let's talk a little bit about the different types of things that you can bring in. Excuse me, one more thing. Over here in my program window, I have my drop down right here, and this is how I can select what my output is going to be. So Captivate supports sending out NDI with an alpha channel, so your graphics retain that transparency. We can send out HDMI so that you can chroma key, choose, a green or a blue, etc., that you can chroma key out, bring in your graphics that way. We do support SDI as well to send out key and fill into whatever switchers you have. And then a bunch of other options, PNG sequences, our integration with OBS available right here. So from this drop down, you just select how you're sending it out, and all your graphics are going to go out that way. Okie dokie. So a couple things that we can do down here. I'm going to go down into our project panel now, and we're going to start getting set up and talking through the different options that are available to you to get your graphics into your project. So I'm going to click on Add New Item. Option number one right here is going to be a title or graphic. So this is just going to be if you wanted to start a graphic from scratch. So if you already have your PNG files, your MOV files, whatever you want to use to create your graphic, you can just create a new title or graphic, go into our title designer, and edit it yourself. We also have the ability to enter a After Effects project. So either an AEP file or a MOGRT file can come directly into Captivate and then be rendered in real time as you're in playout, right? So if you have a lower third that you built in After Effects and you want to tie that to a CSV of all the names and titles, you can do that using Captivate. That is one of those features that right now is only available in Captivate Broadcast. You can build out shot layouts. We'll hit on that towards the end. You can do media sequences as well. This is if you had a commercial break and you wanted a playlist of MP4s, right? So while Captivate is primarily graphics, there are many other tools in here that you can use to enhance the switcher and enhance the experience that your viewers have. You have transition effects right here, the ability to bring in live video and audio. So if I wanted to bring in this camera that I'm sharing with you right now, I could bring that camera in. And then I've got some different workflows or the ability to import content such as a MOV, MP4, MP3, WAV file kind of thing. However, I would say that is not where most people start. Most people are going to start up here in our library of graphics. So if I come back out, these are all of the different templates that we have. Like over 500 templates come with Captivate Present and Sport. Over 1,000 come with Captivate Broadcast. All of these are available to you, and you can kind of just scroll through and find what works for you. For our webinar today, I was using a lot of the cubic graphics, so that's what I'm going to do a little bit of show you with today. So I'm just going to come over here, grab a lower third, drag that into my project, and now this graphic is a part of my project, and I can play it in the program window. This is going to be true about any graphic. You just drag and drop, bring it into your project, and there it is. So when we have a graphic over here in our project panel, there are a few things we can do. Number one, I can play that graphic on. And then hitting the play button again, I can play that graphic off. I can also define a hotkey for this. So if I wanted to map it to the 1 on my keyboard, I can select 1. And now every time I hit 1, it will play that graphic on and off. And then finally, I can define a duration. So if you want this graphic to play for 5 seconds, you turn it on by pressing the hotkey. And then after 5 seconds, that graphic will turn off. If you wanted to remove the duration, you just set it back to 0, and now it's going to play up until the pause point, a concept we'll get into a little bit later, and then animate off when you tell it to. So we've got a lower third in our project. Let's see what we can do with this lower third. You'll see down here now that our properties panel has updated with some data, right? It has the name, the subtitle, the image, the color. And now I have the ability to change that. So let's play this graphic into program. And this is called our live values tab, which means I can update all of these values live. So if I type in my name and I hit enter, voila, you can see that only my name reanimates, right? So only my name is the piece that of the graphic that is actually going to animate onto the screen. Everything else that didn't change is just going to stay put. This is true about everything, right? So if I came in here and I typed in my title, again, only that piece is going to reanimate on. I can choose an image, choose a color, et cetera, right? So let's get the full look. I can come in here, select, my headshot, and now we've got a nice little lower third for me that I could use in this webinar today. You'll see down here, this color is italicized. That just means that I can't update this specific field while the graphic is currently live. I could change the color now. That's a field that's all editable in the title designer. If you wanted the ability to update the color live, you could set that up as well. All right, so that's our first option to be able to update the individual graphics. Let's come over here to our values grid. This is going to be our second option. This you can kind of think of as like a CSV that's embedded within Captivate, right? You can build out your entire rows and columns all within the confines of this software. So let's add in Ian over here. He's our head of sales. He's on this call with us today. And then we can just double click on this image. It'll pop up and we can grab his headshot as well. And now we've got two different options, right? So if I play this graphic on, you'll see it's got Ian. If I double click on my name right here, it's got me. So it's just however you want to set it up. You've now got a few rows of individual options that you can use to update your graphic. And we frequently get people who come from the world of maybe creating individual graphics in Photoshop or creating individual graphics in Canva. And they have for each individual lower third, they have 15 graphics maybe living in like their ATEM stills library or something. Now we just have one graphic, and then you just have to go back into the values grid or into a CSV, update any of the data, and not need to go through that kind of tedious, repetitive process of creating all these individual graphics. However, I wouldn't say either of these is necessarily the most popular way of populating data. I'd say using any of our data controllers is. And you saw that a little bit earlier when I showed the scoreboard, right? I was using the scoreboard within Captivate to update the data in the graphic. And I can do the same thing with a lower third. So if I come over here to this add source button, this is where I can update all of my lower third information. So I can come over here to general, spreadsheet, and now select a new input. That's going to open up this toggle window right here, where I can now either select a file from my machine or generate a file. Generating a file is going to allow Captivate to automatically create a CSV in the format that we expect it to be in. So for this lower third, it would give you a name, subtitle, and image column headers, and then you would just add in the data. If you already have a file that you want to use, then you can manually link it up in Captivate. I've got a file I want to use, so I'm going to come over here to select file. I'm going to use my lower thirds for this webinar. And then as you can see right here, right, let me just drag and drop this right there. So now I've got a few different options, right? I've got Jacob, Ian, and Caleb. I have the direct file path to where these images live in the Excel sheet that I'm using, the CSV that I'm using. And now I just, again, select the different ones that I want to play, and it will reanimate the individual elements that are changing in the graphic. This same workflow applies for Google Sheets. The same workflow applies if you have a Cloud Excel document, right? Or just an XLSX file. All of those same concepts are going to apply to these individual graphics. So those are, again, the very basics of getting a lower third into your project and now being able to update that lower third with individual data. So next thing I want to talk about, our title designer, right? So if you are, maybe this graphic gets you 80% of the way there, but there are specific fonts or specific things about your brand that you need the ability to update. You can click on this graphic and now click on edit, and that is going to open up the title designer. The title designer is one of the first things we had. It was available as the title designer in Avid many, many years ago. And now it's adapted for live, right? So if you've used any Adobe products or anything like that, this is probably going to look very familiar to you, right? We have all of our layers right here. We have a timeline, so all your graphics are going to animate in. I mentioned that pause point earlier. The pause point, all of your graphics animate up until they reach that pause point. And then until you click the play button again in that project panel, it's going to stay right here. You can have things loop at this point. You can have things do whatever else they need to at this point. But for the most part, it's just going to stay paused until you click on play again, and it does everything else. Couple things, I could spend another 2 hours in this title designer walking you through each individual element. Fortunately, we don't have the time for that today. A couple quick things I do want to show you Uh, if I come over here to the layer properties, I have the ability to update fonts, update sizes, bold, adjust the leading, kerning, etc. I can also uh, change how the text is going to adapt. So by default, right now I have it set to fit text to box. That means that as I type in this box, the text is going to shrink, right? So it will never go into my face. The text is never going to expand that far. Well, I think my screen, give me 1 second here. Oh, we got some questions in the chat. Oh, good. Everybody else is. Do we have support in Spanish? Yes, we do have support in Spanish. I can show you where that language drop down right there. You guys are doing great in the chat, answering everything for me. I appreciate that. All right. So let's open up a new project again. To just show you the Spanish, if I come up here to settings and go to language, I can select Spanish right here. So let's go back into the title designer real quick. Just going to grab that same asset and click on edit. All right. So one of the main things I want to show here, everything is based on layers here. So if I move this layer down, I can either drag it or use command down, command up. It's going to, when it goes below this main box, obviously it will no longer show. And when it goes above that main box, it will continue to show. I can kick out this window over here as well and do any of my transitions, right? So rather than manually keyframing everything in Captivate, you can use any of our pre-baked transitions, right? So if I come to that drop down, go to transitions, animations, these are all of the individual animations that you can use to go into a graphic and to go out of a graphic, right? So I can go into city lights right here, and now you can maybe see a little bit here that the name is now flashing. And you do have the ability to stack transitions. So if I come over here and I drag and drop this, I can click on this down arrow and now you'll see it slides out, but it also has this city lights transition. All of these transitions, again, you can change their length, you can delete them, remove them, copy, paste, etc., to make the graphics look exactly how you want to. You can always add text, add shapes, even add audio to the individual graphics. This title designer lets you basically create exactly what you want your graphics to look like if our templates don't get you all the way there. The X down here will make it so that your changes don't save. The check mark will make it so that your changes do save. I was just messing around, so I'm not going to save any of these. All right. Last thing, the main thing we're going to talk about today, the unique thing that we can talk a little bit about today are going to be what we call shot workflows. So a shot in Captivate is just this concept of being able to tie multiple graphics together and then play them all out at the same time, right? So I'm going to go back into my library and I'm going to grab a couple of different graphics. I'm going to grab this pip, this picture-in-picture. I'm going to grab two of them real quick. We'll also grab a background image and maybe the webinar guy down here. One of these webinars, or excuse me, web camera graphics. So we're going to grab a couple of different options right here. And then I'm also going to add my webcam into the stream, so into the production. So I'm just going to come down, add new item, live audio and video, and now we've got my web camera as a source. All right, so when we're thinking about shots, I'm going to open up my preview window so I can see what I want to see right here, right? A shot is just going to be multiple things. So an example of a shot is what I showed you earlier. Maybe I want my picture up in the top left and then my screen in the bottom right and a background behind it, right? How would I go about animating that all on at the same time rather than just kind of hitting the play button over and over? So the first way I'm going to do that, I'm going to come up to my pip right here, and maybe in the preview window, I can move this down right here. And after I move it, you'll see I get a little pie right there that's going to load up. And once that loads up, that means that everything has rendered. I'm going to have another pip right here. I'm going to move this one down here, make this a little bit bigger, put it right around there. And then I've got my background image. To put these all into a shot together, I'm going to shift click to grab all of them and then click down here on group into a shot. And you'll see right here, right? I've got now a shot down here. This maybe isn't exactly how I want it to look, so I'm going to come down here, adjust this, move this down a little bit, maybe make this a little bit smaller, and put it up here. Now, to grab my cameras and put them in here, that's all done through the properties panel because the cameras are technically considered the data within here. So I've got my properties panel. Going to move this down to the bottom. I've got my top left camera selected in my preview window. In the properties, you can see right here, I can select what camera do I want it to go to. Do I want it to follow the switcher, or do I just want it to be one specific camera? Right now, I just want it to be one specific camera. It's always going to be that guy right there. This second pip, I want this to always be my screen, so I'm going to make this my display 1. There we go. And now, obviously, I might do a little bit more tweaking, but here's shot 1, right? You've got me up in the top left, and then the shot down here, you've got the picture-in-picture screen share right here. There's going to be a couple other things I'm going to want for a webinar, right? Maybe I want a 2-box where I'm sharing myself. I can just group this one into a shot by itself. And then same exact thing that we were just doing, right? I come back into the properties of this graphic, and I can say I want camera 1 to be this webcam, and I want camera 2 to be my other webcam over here. So now we've got the 2 different people that we want in the 2 different webcams, right? So if we're doing a news show and we're bringing in a reporter and we want to be able to create those custom 2 boxes, this is a way that you can set that up. And then maybe our last one is just going to be me in a single in the lower third, right? So I'll do this guy with the lower third, group these into a shot, and now I've got my 3 different shots, my 3 different looks for this production. I can come over here to this live. These are our different workspace layouts. So these are by default how we set up your workspaces. We're in the setup one, which is a little bit better for setting up your graphics. But if I come over here, click on live, pops up in my other window. Now this is all I really need to see to operate the graphics, right? I've got my shots down here. I don't even need my project panel. I don't need my project panel. And now I can just kind of cycle through what today's production is going to be. And I would add that background image to a couple of my other shots just to keep it a little bit more stable. But this is a very easy way to set up all of the possible iterations of the types of graphics you want to put on the screen. And then rather than having to individually play them on one by one and maybe doing the timing wrong, a shot allows you to set up your full scene, your full kind of like an ME all at once, and then play those out directly from the shot launcher. So that is most of my spiel today. Everybody who's stuck around this long, we will be giving away a free either the Eclipse graphics package or the Flux Sports graphic package. I showed the Flux Sports one a little bit earlier with the schedule and the head-to-head graphics. So those are some of my favorite packages we have. So that's a nice little add-on bonus for you guys. Is there anything I can show in the chat, Naomi or Ian, that might be helpful? If anybody has any questions.
I'm going to repaste the ones that I got.
That would be great.
Down here so you can see them.
Can we use the Stream Deck to control the clock and score on the scoreboard? Absolutely. Assuming you are using our scoreboard tool, using BitFocus Companion, we have all of the scoreboard controls in there. So if you're not familiar, it's a free plugin for Stream Decks. I've actually got it set up on my Stream Deck right now, just not set up to do scores. But you can map it so that when you press a button on a Stream Deck, the score goes up by 3, the clock stops, the clock resets. All those individual are available as presets. So if you go into Companion, the right order to do this, set up a project in Captivate, connect a scoreboard tool to your scoreboard graphic, launch BitFocus Companion, make sure it's connected up to your Stream Deck, and then if you go into the presets for Companion, you'll see all of those options. And I'm wondering if I can pull this up easily right now. Let's take a look. So what I'm trying to say, in BitFocus Companion right here, we've got a Captivate module right here, right? Now I'm connected up to Captivate, so I can control Captivate via here. If I come over to buttons, you can see this, actually I have it set up right here, right? It's not gonna work because I don't have a scoreboard tool, but visitor score +1, visitor score +2, game clock toggle on or off, shot clock reset, all those individual features available right here. You would just come over to this presets button, go to Captivate, and then you would see, oh, even right here, score, yeah, it's all set up, perfect. So you would see right here, right? Visitor score +1, +2, +3, -1 if you made a mistake, possession arrow, bonus, double bonus, all the way down the line. So that's using BitFocus Companion. I would like to learn how I can connect it to Zoom and update social networks. Sure. So the way to connect to Zoom is via the conferencing tab up here. So if you go to, if you open Captivate, if you go to conferencing, you can go to join existing meeting, and then you just put in that meeting ID, that meeting password, and you have 2 options. You can either choose to well, you can choose both if you want. Choose to receive the audio and media from Zoom so that you get the individual ISO feeds and now you can map them to the different webcams, and or send the program output back to Zoom. I'd say it tends to work best if you do one or the other, but you can do both. But that's how you can send it directly into Zoom. You just put in the meeting ID, meeting password, then you'll see all of those ISO feeds are individual live sources within your project. Social networks, we can pull, when you are connected to Zoom and Teams, it will automatically connect into the chat from Zoom and Teams so that you can pull the chat information directly in there. Or if you wanted to go to other social controllers, that's all available in our chat controller. So let's just grab a quick, maybe, let's see, I think I have a social media graphic in here, maybe. Yeah, social. So we can drag that social graphic in real quick just as an illustration. We'll stop all of our graphics, move this guy up. And now I could come over here to add source, go over to social, chat, and then chat. And that's going to open up a new data controller right here, which I can now select show sources. And that's going to give me the option to connect right into Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Teams, or Zoom. And it will pull the data in whatever you're looking for, right? If it's a specific Facebook channel, a specific YouTube channel, specific YouTube video, specific hashtag, specific whatever it is, you can pull that data in and then populate that data into one of your graphics. Decklink Duo Mini with Zoom guests for your podcast. So is the Decklink Duo Mini ingesting the individual video feeds as SDI, and then you're sending from there to Zoom? Because, well, I'll answer the other question. Well, that question, somebody, maybe we get an answer on that. We can talk a little bit. I'm also happy to, if you want to schedule some one-on-one time for us to talk through what that workflow would look like, you have our contact info. If you don't, I'll post it. We'll put it in the chat right now so you can reach out to me, and we can really spend time going through your workflow. Can you assign hotkeys and then temporarily disable them while you make edits? Yeah, so I could just come up here to the hotkey, hit on one, click off of it, and then if I just double click on it again, click off of it, it's gone. So yeah, you can set it up all that way. Old version of Captivate Broadcast, looking for reasons to update to the newest version. Okay. Need to export a template from the graphic editor as a video. Deprecated. So it does say deprecated. That does kind of still work if you want to give it a try. It just exports an MOV file with alpha, so like QuickTime Player can't open it properly, but I'd recommend double checking. I know it does say deprecated, but I'm pretty sure it still works. Used a ton of problems with live comments from a live stream. Has this been fixed? Again, it's hard for me. I can't say based on your specific version what has and hasn't been fixed. I can say our chat controller is very stable. I haven't had any issues with it right now. I would have to recommend downloading a free trial for you to see what you think. I'm not going to tell you that it looks better because I don't know exactly what it looked like back then. So let's maybe we can again take a look together and see how that chat works, and maybe if it works better for you, that would be great. There's still no search facility for templates and effects. Yes, we do have plans to increase the ability to search within our library and filter for specific graphics. That's great feedback, and feedback that our product team is aware of and is planning on working on very soon. Decklink would be ingesting Zoom guests on 2 channels and then sending out to ATEM Mini Extreme. Okay. Yes, and thank you for clarifying, Naomi, that the Social Pro controller will not be updated. The Decklink would be ingesting Zoom guests on 2 channels, okay, and then sending out to an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. Yeah, I think rather than getting into the nuance of your individual workflow right now, let's reach out to sales@newblueinc.com. Let's schedule some one-on-one time to walk through what this workflow would look like, and then we can really dive in together. I think that would make the most sense for both of us. The web interface for chat that could be used by on-air talent. Sure. I mean, it's going to be this, right? I mean, I would say in my experience, on-air talent is typically not the one controlling the chat interface. However, if that is the requirement for the project, this is the chat controller, right? I can come over here to Twitter, add a new source, and then you can select what you want it to be, right? So, I don't know. I'm a Phillies fan. Let's find out what's going on with the Phillies today. Click on save, and then you'll see that a new message has been added. I can come back here to return to messages. And this is where I can now come through and sort through all those individual tweets that are coming in. I can, add them to a playlist. I can click on by, opening up over here. Maybe I want to add this one. I want to delete this one, add this one. And then I can play through the individual tweets that I want to post. Same thing with, different things. And you can see right here, right? It's got the image. And obviously I would customize this for my needs, but it has the image. It has the person's name, their handle, what they said, all that individual information. Can this be used by another computer through a web browser? Yes, it can. In broadcast, can you assign graphics to a specific output channel? Absolutely. That is a feature again. Multiple channels is a feature available in Captivate Broadcast. So if you come over here to add channel, you could say, hey, I want this graphic going out on channel 1, maybe just my score bug on channel 1, and then I want my stat graphics and everything else on channel 2. You can set that up. No problem. Multiple channels, additional channels are available as an add-on to Captivate Sport and Present if you don't want to buy, but the question is about broadcast. But yes. Anybody else? Other questions? I hope I answered the social chat controller and the ability to use it through another computer. You just open it in another open in browser. You can either scan a QR code or just click on send them this link. And now as long as they're on the same network, they can open it up. If you've had some problems connecting to the chat on your YouTube channel, I'd recommend reaching out to our support team. If there are specific reproduction steps that you can follow that allow you to reproduce this consistently, that would be great information for them. Not something we can troubleshoot live right now, but hopefully we can get that figured out for you if you go to our support team. Go Phils. Oh, Raheem, my guy. Can you copy existing graphics? Can you copy graphics from an existing channel to another without having to grab a template? Let's find out. Come over here. Do I have a copy? Nancy and V. You guys know if I'm missing anything? Can you copy graphics from one channel to another? It doesn't look like you
No,
can.
unfortunately.
Yeah, so not right now. You would need to grab it and re-put it in. Duplicate is going. Yeah, you can duplicate it on the same channel, but it's not going to go to the other channel. Oh, the pain. That is a great request. Agreed. This is why we host these webinars. What a great funnel of ideas that we've gotten already. This has been fun.
Yeah. You can save a graphic to a library though.
Right. So you could do
To
it
your
that way.
library.
Yeah. So you could come over here to this graphic. Where is that? Where is save to library? I know it's here somewhere. Save layer. Nope. That well. Then you could save it and then import it. I know there is the.
You may have to open the designer.
That is right. Thank you. Yeah, so you would come into here, file, save selected design to library. So you could save that design to your library, then it's accessible in your library, and you could pull it down from the other channel. But it's still the same idea of copy. You still would have to grab the template. It would just be the exact template you've created. Problem, yes, that is absolutely correct. That the problem with saving to libraries is that every little change you make, you have 100% correct. You have to do it again. What else? Anything else?
For some of these workflows, Jacob highlighted the shot layouts panel today. That was a big highlight feature of the day. For these future webinars, we're going to be choosing another feature to highlight. So send in requests. We love that. The more people who are asking for it, that gives us more drive to highlight that feature too for the future. We're always going to do, because these are Discover webinars or Discover Captivate, they're always going to go through the basic setup first for anybody who's brand new.
How do you set chroma? I can show you how you set chroma. The set chroma, that's going to be available up here in the settings. Where did it go? It's in the prod. I know where this is. Come on. I was just doing this today. Sorry, program out. Right. Program out, HDMI setup, key. So you would just tell what color to key, black, blue, or green. And then if you have your drop down and you say you wanted to do HDMI output, it will take those chroma settings and it will do your graphics that way. think I saw something else. What would be the best way to integrate something like my deck link with Zoom and multiple guests? Michael, this should be available tomorrow, hopefully. There you go. Thanks, Naomi. What would be the best way to integrate something like my deck link with Zoom and multiple guests? I mean, you could obviously ingest SDI into here, but since we do have a direct connection to Zoom, you might be able to bypass that piece of it, right? Because I know you said you're pulling from Zoom into your deck link into Captivate, right? Or was I believe what you said the workflow would be. You might be able to just bypass the deck link, pull directly from Zoom. Then you get the ISO feeds directly in Captivate from Zoom, and then you could send those out on multiple channels as individual channels into your ATEM. Cool. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for us today. Again, this webinar will be posted very soon. Thank you for the kind words, Gabriel. This will be posted very soon. Hopefully within the next 24 hours, you'll have access to the recording. You have our email, sales@NewBlue Inc. We can answer any questions, maybe set up some one-on-one time if this didn't cover exactly what you wanted it to and you want to dive a little bit deeper. Free trials always available on our website if you are new users and haven't used it before. And if you are running into issues, support@newblueinc.com will resolve them for you. So thanks so much for joining the first edition of Discover Captivate. It was really great to have you all here, and we look forward to doing it again soon. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.